Cool it down before you hit the ground. Sort it out before you twist it out. Sick and tired of messing around. Light up the good way to play around. Money ain't no good to me. 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 Hold it down before you breathe it out. Stack it up before you lose your touch. Sick and tired of messing around. Light up the good we can play around. Sick and tired of messing around. Light up the good we can play around. Money ain't no good to me. Money ain't no good to me. Money ain't no good to me. Money ain't no good to me.
Well, this is odd. What's wrong with you, little camera?
have my other little adapter for you. There we go. All right, here we go now. So I'm trying to add in my other video capture device and my computer's not seeing it. So I'm wondering if my little camera here has just, you know, died, which is unfortunate because it's the only camera that I have. So if this won't work, and it's possible that it's also the adapter, because the computer is charging and that's fine. But if there's no other camera, then you're just going to take me for word of mouth how things are working. I can't seem to get this little guy to do anything. Oh well, it might be a trip to a tech store a little bit later. Tig girl, I am doing well. Yes, I am on a Mac. And I have a bit of technical difficulties right now because my little camera is not working. I only have the one that's built into the computer. So what are you up to today, and how are you? I guess this is going to be a little interesting. I'm going to have to improvise some sort of way that y'all can see what I'm doing. This camera has been my backup camera. It's been my secondary camera for about 1.5 years now, but it's a little $20 thing. The very last stream I did, it worked. No, this is exactly right. And I only have a guess that there's a single connection onto the computer that I use, so it's quite possibly the adapter itself rather than the camera, because I've had an issue with this particular adapter, though my other adapter is in storage. So whatever works. And the worst case scenario is that I get another camera and that one works too. So for the moment right now, I guess we're just going to have to be mellow and work with the technology that I have at hand as I drop everything everywhere. But I am here. I am here. Let me unplug that charger. Let me plug in this charger, because that means that I'm not going to be limited by the whoopsies. I'm not going to be limited by the battery power that I have on the computer. I'm glad you're good. I'm glad you're good. So now all I have to do is find some sort of platform that I can put you upon so that you can see everything that I am up to today. And this will be good. This is a strainer. Just as it's a strain trying to find something to make this work. And the handles do not interfere. That just means... Do we have other pot holders? Yes, we do. So I'm going to be fine if I do this. And there you go. You are now lifted up. And you can see how messy my kitchen is at the moment. Alrighty. That'll just have to work. And that's my mom's ringtone upstairs. So there we are. So today, if you could just take a look right there in the little chat window that I have on the screen, I'm going to be doing two things. And I try to get myself mise en place, if that's a verb, as well as I could, to make sure that as the stream goes on, you can see everything that we're doing. So today, I'm going to be doing an apple pie, my way, and also some peppermint patties. Another streamer that I like to watch, for some reason, I don't know why I'm kind of addicted to his channel, Tabletie, and his fans are putting together something called Pie Week in the first full week of November or so. And the premise is simple, that you make everything from scratch. You do the entire pie on stream, crust to baking and so forth. But while I'm confident with my crust and how everything are going to be going through, for this particular stream today, I'm doing a test of the filling and the topping. Because I've not done this topping before. I've not seen this topping done ever before. So you're in for a treat if this works. I do want to join the pie contest. I'm not even sure if it's a contest, per se. But what you're in for a treat is that I'm going to test out the pie filling and the top. And I'll tell you more about it as I go. But while that's cooking and doing whatever it's got to do, I haven't started it yet, I was also going to make another recipe that's been going viral for homemade peppermint patties. And I'm thinking because of the time delay that's going to be needed while one thing freezes and the other one bakes, this will be a good thing to do side by side. So, I got my mug, which is not really appropriate for this stream because it's all about my knitting stream, which I also do. But we're going to get started now, shall we? I have everything I need, I think. Everything I need, I think. Everything I need, I think. Alrighty. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is doing the peppermint patties, because once the first part is done, all I have to do is put them into the fridge or freezer until I'm so ready to use the chocolate again. So I'd rather get this out of the way so I can spend most of the time working on the other thing. Oh, lurk away. Enjoy your lurk. I'm just going to be chatting away. Just let me know when you're back. So I'm going to tilt the camera down the best that I can so you can see everything that I'm up to, even though you can't see me. And I'm just a disembodied men wear pink person. Anyway, so the peppermint patty recipe is actually going to be fairly simple. I've already pre-measured the 2 cups of confectioner sugar. And by the way, let me know if the volume for the music is too loud or too soft. But I already pre-measured the confectioner sugar. Into this, ooh, I forgot one ingredient, which is right here. Into this, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup. It's about a 1/2 stick. American butter come in 1 pound bricks divided by 4. And I'm taking one of those sticks in half. Yeah, is my frame rate going in and out? There we go. I'm taking one of these sticks, cutting it in half, and I softened it just a little. Didn't want to melt it, just wanted to soften it to make it easier to stir. And then I'm going to use 1/3 cup of clear or light corn syrup into here. So I already pre-measured everything that I could. So now, So my pro tip, by the way, if you're going to be using molasses or syrup or anything like that, things that usually have a low viscosity and stick to the side of your measuring cup, butter your measuring cup before you use it. That way you don't have to worry about things like the corn syrup or molasses sticking to the side of the container. So anyway, here comes the corn syrup, and here come very buttery fingers. I just realized my fingers are full of butter. All right, and there is a, I think it's certainly a regional kind of supermarket that we have around here that focuses on dairy and cheese and so forth, but they do have a lot of things like fresh produce and all sorts of good things, fresh baked goods. Though I was surprised when I went there today and I found they had things like corn syrup, vanilla extract, certain kinds of chocolate, and so on. Normally this is a very specialty, upscale farmer's market kind of vibe. So I was really surprised that they had all these things there and that I can get this recipe going. So now I'm going to put in, 1/3 cup or so of light corn syrup. I don't care if it's not too precise. Yeah, it's just a little over. And that's it. Let's get the peppermint extract out, and I'm going to use about a teaspoon. Now, the recipe that I got this from for the peppermint extract or for the peppermint patties suggested using peppermint extract and starting off low, or if you like a more subtle mint flavor, using peppermint essential oil. But I'm thinking that if this recipe works out, I can substitute out the peppermint extract with orange or with lavender, maybe add in a little bit of food coloring to make it a bit more interesting. But yeah, I also had regular mint extract, so I can imagine doing like a mint rum mojito kind of flavor with it. Oh yeah, that's strong. All right, so I just need about a teaspoon of this, which is what I'm going to add in. I'm going to start off with a teaspoon because this stuff is murderously strong, this 1 teaspoon. All right, so that goes in. Corn syrup goes in. And this would be a lot easier if I had a stand mixer to do this. But guess what? Stand mixer is in storage. Yay. Although my great news is that tomorrow I close on my new place, which is a sigh of relief for me. And I'm still trying to get everything together that I need for tomorrow. I haven't heard back from the lawyers or so forth in terms of what else I need to bring with me or what the check sizes have to be. So I'll just have to take care of that last minute tomorrow morning and give a call to the lawyer's office, or however you want to phrase it. Anyway, I'm going to tilt the display down so you can see. So I'm just stirring all the ingredients together as best I can to form a dough that's going to be reminiscent of fondant, which is certainly coming together a lot more easily than I thought. I thought I'd be having to just grind away at this, but no. It's coming together just fine. All right. And the main event is going to be coming up in just a moment when I start with the apple pie. But for the moment, I'm just getting all this together. So, assuming people aren't in lurk mode out there, I'm wondering what everybody is working on craft-wise, because normally I knit on this channel. I've also been making earrings, but I've had a little bit of technical difficulties last week when I started to knit on stream, and I couldn't get a consistent enough connection to stay up on stream for more than a few minutes. All right, a little spat here. So no doubt, I've done these streams. Well, this is the 3rd cooking stream I've ever done, so I'm not sure if it's going to morph into being a cooking stream or it's certainly going to be knitting. That's always going to be there. But occasionally, I might do something a little interesting. All right. Although, is this the first time I've done candy making on stream? I'm not sure. Now, the other great thing is that there's no raw ingredients in here that I would get sick with if I had it raw. So let's see where things stand. Let me just make sure that that's all incorporated. I just took a little dabble off. I'm going to add a little bit more peppermint extract because it's very subtle for me. But I'm going to add a half a teaspoon more. because I care about the health and welfare of those around my house. Okay. And I think that's going to be it. I wish I had some sort of scooper or baller or something along that line, but let me get some wax paper, which is somewhere in here. Alright, remember, wax paper is always used for cold stuff, and parchment is always used for hot stuff. There we go. And with my impeccably clean hands, as I said, my impeccably clean hands. That's where I wish I had some sort of kitchen towel. It's all just paper towels. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got and it's gone. Alright. I'm going to add a bit more sugar to this because it's very, very loose. Okay, so I want it to be a bit of a moldable dough, and right now it looks like it's going to be a little on the sticky side. So I'm adding another half cup or so. Ah, that's just a little dirty. The outside of the container was just a little dirty for my liking, so anyway. Just to tighten this up a little bit more. There we go. Now it's more dough-like in consistency. I just need an extra half cup. Now, something that's about 2 tablespoons. Use an actual teaspoon. Well, not two tablespoons. That'll be a very large peppermint patty. My word, that'd be huge. Yeah, this is still a little too... This might be a recipe fail. Who knows? This is very close to a recipe fail. So I can keep on adding sugar. That's not a problem. No, it's been mostly humid here, so I'm not too surprised that this wants to not cooperate. There we go. That's a little bit better. And here we are, just plopping balls. Onto wax paper. I can imagine people that are like, so how did you spend your Wednesday, Mike? Oh, I just rolled up homemade peppermint patties. These might be more like peppermint balls at the moment, but you know what? It's working, and I'm not going to try anything. So it needed an extra cup of sugar. I'm not exactly 100% sure why. Yeah, I added a little bit more extract, but that shouldn't have been making that much of a deal. And I'm trying to roll these as fast as I can so that it doesn't pick up a lot of the moisture from my hand. And once these are ready, they go right into the freezer for at least 15 minutes. I might even just put them in the fridge, because they don't have to be frozen per se. They just have to work for the chocolate dipping. Did I mention there's going to be chocolate dipping? Alrighty. By the way, Tiggerl, you might be lurking, but I followed your Instagram today, and I hold you completely responsible for me gaining about 20 pounds looking at all those delicious food styling pictures. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing more. I know you may be in lurk mode, but I just thought I'd give you some shout-outs and props that are well-deserved. Yes, I accidentally dropped that onto the counter. All right. So this part is actually taking a lot longer than I'd like, but fortunately when it comes to the apples, that's not going to be any time at all. Since I started streaming, I think I've gained about 20 pounds. It's interesting how that works. Always interesting how that works. My sister often openly joked, you know, never trust a thin chef, which to me sounds ridiculous, but I've gained quite a bit of weight over the years from cooking and so forth. I think at my heaviest, I was about 255 pounds. I'm not sure how many kilos it is, but 111 kilos. But fortunately, I've been able to keep it all off. However, with as many baking streams as I've been doing lately, it's going to be a lot harder. You have to sacrifice to make your viewers entertained? Yes, I do agree. All right. This is really sticky, but I'm not sure if it's because of the corn syrup involved or the amount of sugar involved, but you know what? It's coming together and I can't complain. So I figure I might do is I'm going to leave these in a ball shape. I'm going to refrigerate them so they set a little bit. Then I was going to flatten them when I'm ready to dip them. And I'm hoping that's going to be enough. That's going to be a large one. I can sense it, yeah. This is almost like fondant. I don't know how this is working out. I've had some foot and hip issues. Going to a PT today. Hopefully get back in regular workout schedule. That helps. Oh yeah. There's always something that's... When you're used to exercising, when you're used to maybe physical therapy, however you want to phrase it, and there's something that comes along that derails you, even if it's just for a moment, it's always so anxiety-inducing. You want to get out there, you want to do something about your situation, but you kind of can't because you're broken. And your warranty is run out, so sometimes it costs money, in other words. I don't know, I'm trying to be cute, but... that ain't working out. Alright, I probably can do 2 more here. These are a lot. These are a lot more than I thought I'd be doing. Okay. So. That's that. So these, let me see if I can get a better look at it. And I did want to wipe up a little bit of my accident there on the counter. So these are the balls that I have of the dough. I'm going to put that into the fridge to set them, and then I'm going to freeze them for a few before I get started on the apples. So let's do that. Yummo. My doc just want to give you a shot to fix it, but I've been trying to get them to figure out the cause. Well, yeah, it's not just the cause. It's like, just stop it. Make it stop happening. You know, stop giving me Band-Aids. Give me a fix. Anyway, my sympathies to you. Alrighty. Now we're going to get apple crazy. So, all right, let's get things together here. Oh, I don't need that. I need the other bowl. Alrighty, Roo. So now I just need a peeling instrument. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. Where do I keep the peeler? So that's not what I want. That might work. I just don't want to score as much. Is that going to work? That'll work. Okay. Ein Masnia! Welcome! Ein Masnia, you can do exclamation point menu for more information about what I am doing in today's stream. I just finished doing the first part of the peppermint patties. So I have them chilling in the fridge, doing their thing, and then I'm going to move them to the freezer in a moment. The second thing that I'm doing is I'm making an apple pie. But if you're not indoctrinated, there's another stream that I like to watch here on Twitch, Tabatai Cooking. And he and his streamer followers have a pie week that's coming up, I think, on the first full week of November. Now, I thought I would do something that I'm used to doing, a recipe that's not going to take me too far of my comfort zone, which is going to be an apple pie. I usually make my apple pies a little different from my friends and family and how your typical average American takes an apple pie. But I'm also going to be doing something interesting with the topping for the apple pie that I have not seen anyone do before. So if you're watching on this stream, and I have Ein Masnia here, I have Tig Girl, I might have Tomato File coming in a little bit, I don't know. So you're going to be observing something I don't think has ever been done on stream before by anyone that I know of. I could be wrong, but you're in for a treat if you're going to stay with me. As a side note, my second camera has failed, so I don't have a way to do anything but tilt this laptop toward the food. So there are times I might be like a disembodied head talking to the camera. But anyway, how are you doing? What is your day going to be like? You're making pizza tonight. I feel like pizza tonight, like pizza tonight. All right, so here's how it's going to work out for this next step. For the apple pie itself, I have about 8 or so Fuji apples, 1 lemon, which I'm going to use the juice for and the zest, and I have backup juice in the fridge just in case, and about 1/3 or 2/3 of a cup of sugar. This is actually 1/3 of a cup. I'm going to be using the same amount of water once everything is ready to go. And yeah, I'm just a talking chin. You can't see me. But anyway. So I'm going to peel the apples and I'm going to start stewing them as soon as I get everything chopped and ready to go. All right. So let's get started, I guess. I'll be making wild blueberry and pecan pie for Thanksgiving. By the way, are we in agreement? Is it pecan or pecan? I always get in trouble by somebody when I say pecan or pecan. Someone like, oh, it's pecan. No, it's pecan. Like, pick on someone your own size, please. All right. So, right now, potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. So right now I'm trying to peel the apples. I'm trying to keep the peels as long as I can. Now, I said I'm doing something special for the pie, but I didn't mention exactly what because I want to keep it a secret. And I don't think I'm that trailblazing when it comes to what I'm making, but I certainly don't know of anybody else that might have done this before. There may have been, but I certainly am not aware. doesn't necessarily mean that I'm all that original, but I'm a pecan kind of gal. We do pecan. Don't accidentally put a space after E in that statement. Ah! I'm guessing that you got picked up, whoops, by Automod. I tried to make Automod a little bit more friendly. Toward those that might use certain terms. Because I think that the Automod, when it comes to chat control, is a little too aggressive. All right, so that's 2. Automod loves me. I almost made it completely away around the apple there. There we go. That's 3. You turn up Automod, it starts flagging really weird as mild bullying language. It's a protect the 10-year-olds on Twitch setting. Oh, God. I've had... Because trolls are going to find a way to get around it. And yeah, there is the old troll technique of replacing the letter O with 0, and it claims that it's able to catch that. I really don't care. There's sometimes I almost look forward to having trolls because I get to lay down the ban hammer. And I've had trolls before that had been hilariously cruel. And the fact they are trying to troll, or it seems that they are trying to be all sorts of instigating and trying to get a reaction out of me. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Ugh. Anyway, so it's not that I welcome trolls. I'm not like, hey, troll me, troll me, troll me. But I am always very intrigued by their behavior sometimes. It's a different psychology than I'm used to. So. Let's try Mewling Quim. Yep, Automod defeated by a dictionary thesaurus. Well, let's be fair. How many times do people say Mewling Quim in chat? If they were clever about it, great, but most are just dumb. Oh, my favorite? Okay, so I'm watching another streamer here on Twitch, or I was, I should say. I can't watch and stream at the same time. That's just sadistic. But I was watching another streamer here, and she had the rather peculiar situation of having a troll buy a sub. It could have been a Twitch Prime sub, I don't know. And then subsequently be trolling to a degree where he or she got banned. So you spend $5 on a channel, or whatever tier it was, to subsequently get banned. What's the point in that? Do people think that just because you're subbing, even if it's going to be with a Amazon Prime subscription, that you're going to automatically have certain privileges and be able to get away with things? I don't know. That's why they go for crude shock value. I just realized I didn't put a protector on my keyboard. There we go. I usually like to put a piece of paper towel down on my keyboard so that if anything goes flying in terms of juices, it gets caught. I did not do that. Bad schmagent. Bad schmagent. Schmagent, schmagent. Either one is right. last apple. Now all of these apples I washed, they're all fairly large. Fuji apples. So all of them have been washed, and if there is any kind of scary part to it, like a brown spot, I've picked it off, especially if it was getting a little too deep. But first what I'm doing is that I'm taking the peels off. Then I'm going to cut up the apples, which should be fine. I'm not worried about any browning that's going to occur in the 10 minutes it takes me to peel and chop all of them. And I don't mind if there's a little bit of apple peel that makes it into the final product. I think I'll be safe with that, but let's try to be as concise as possible. Anyway. I prefer Granny Smith's to other firm apple surprise. I agree. I like a tart apple, but the Fuji apples were on sale, so bling bling. Yeah. No, the apple pies that I like to make are going to be very mildly seasoned. Actually, there's no spice in them at all. The apple pie that I like to make is along the lines of a French apple tart. So the only thing that's in them is a tart apple, lemon juice, sugar, water. That's it. That's the only thing that goes in my pies. Usually on the top, I'll put another kind of apple and some sort of weird decoration glazed with the jam. But for the sake of this recipe, it's going to be very simple. I like that tart apple. I want the apple to speak for itself. A lot of times when I try apple pies that are a little over seasoned, it just tastes like the spice, and the smell is amazing, but I don't get the apple, and that's what I like. I know it sounds weird, but that's what's going on. So anyway, here's something interesting. These are all the peels that I got from the apple, right? And I told you I was going to do something that might not have been done in the apple before, but here's a preview. I have a parchment lined pan. Okay, can I get that down any further? Yes, I can. So I have a parchment lined pan with all the peelings upon it. In fact, I'm going to break up some of these larger ones. You can use apple peels to make jam without pectin added. Yeah, because that's it. That's where I think agar is seaweed derived. But yeah, I've had people use apples that are a little overripe to make that. Here, I'm just breaking these up into smaller peels. Make sure there's nothing too big. All right. Yeah, that could be ripped up. That'll be fine. All right. So, apple peels have pectin. Yeah. You can use apple peels to make jam without pectin. I'm babbling right now because I'm a little distracted, but anyway, yeah. I have people use old apples and so forth because of the pectin in it to try to make the thickener itself. And this right here that I have in this little glass, I already pre-measured it. This is 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half teaspoon of ginger. And that goes over that. Okay. All right, and that's going into a 300-degree oven for about 30 minutes, turning halfway. There we go. Those peels are not going to crisp up. I'm not sure this is going to turn out the way you like. I'm trying. Like I said, it's something new that I'm going through. What's the worst that happens is that I get something that is still crispy, delicious, edible. What's the worst that happens? That's why this is a test run. This is something that I'm going to just be trying out. Could it be turning out ugly? Could this be one big, massive culinary fail? Maybe. But you know what? I'm having fun doing it, and I guess that's all that matters, right? Anyway. Let's see how that works out. Meanwhile, the fail-proof part of the recipe. Notice I say that in confidence, and I bet you $1 that what's going to happen is the peels are going to come out the way that I want. The peppermint patties, which started off not really looking like they're going to go the way that I want, come out the way that I want. But the apple pie part, that's the one that's going to fail. I bet you, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to reuse the same bowl. The only thing that was in here was water and peels. So I'm going to use this to hold the apples momentarily. But anyway, you mentioned that the apple peels are not going to crisp up. Is it something that you've tried before, or have you done a different kind of apple? You could always do a crumble topping if the peels don't work out. True, though I am just giving it a try. Because I thought, you know, the peels themselves, they're edible. And if they don't crisp up, that's on the floor. If they don't crisp up, that's fine. I don't know if I'm not using that apple, don't worry. Do not use something that falls on the floor. I don't care about any kind of 5-second rule. But if they don't crisp up, they're still going to be yummy. They're still going to be delicious. They're still going to be, you know, edible. Even if it doesn't actually crisp up, it's not the end of the world. Edible but chewy. I know people that are repelled by bits of peel and things. True, but you know what? It don't matter, because I'll still eat the whole thing. And you know what? If this still doesn't work out, then I'll just go to plan B, and I'll use my history. I'll do my traditional recipe for Pie Week. That's all that matters. Stick to what you know, right? But this is a learning opportunity. Now, I kept the plastic bag that the apples came in. Get the seed out. I kept the plastic bag that the apples came in so I can use it as a trash bag just off camera. But once these go on, and yes, I know I'm losing a lot of the apple to the knife. Once everything is set, I'll be throwing that bag out with all these trashy rejects. And you know, if I make too much filling, whatever's left over just becomes sauce. More for you, exactly. Whoa. Anyway. I'm probably chopping these apples a little on the smaller side, but you know what? It don't matter. Keep out a large chunk. Yeah, this is sweet, and it's still staying firm. Fuji apples tend to stay firm for me. Uh-oh. Did somebody type something they weren't supposed to? Cooking New York Times, whiskey apple crumble pie. Oh yeah, I love whiskey. For a while, you know, when I got out of school, ow, just banged my head on the counter. When I got out of school, a friend's father, actually, he had a bakery business, kind of like a mail order thing, if you will, but it all was out of his house. I really don't know where the business transferred to today, but one year I went to his house and I had to make with him about 6 or 7 of these gargantuan apple pies, where we roasted the apple. You know, we cut the apple, we tossed it in lemon juice, brown sugar, cinnamon, that kind of mixture. We roasted them in huge cookie pans rather than pan fry them or what I'm about to do here. Then we put them in our pre-baked pie crust and let them go from there. So we put the cornstarch in with the apples as they were baking, so it kind of sauced itself. Plus, whatever the marinade we got from the apples, lemon juice, and so forth that we reserved, we turned into caramel and poured that on top. It was this whole big ordeal. And I guess it made more sense because we were making so many pies in one stop, but I don't know. Slightly horrified now. Me? I think as I type rack, I would stir up your peels very soft into the cookie evenly. Yes, I have them in there. I have them in there for about 30 minutes. But, yes, I am going to be stirring about halfway and so forth. But now they're just kind of getting to temperature. Tomatophile, hello! I knew you were going to be coming in today. So they are going around. There is a vent in the oven to get the moisture out of there. I'll keep my eye on them. And like I said, what's the worst that happens? I take them out, they're chewy, I chop them up, and it comes like a sauce topping. It'll work out. I'll figure something out. Never say never. And never gesticulate with a sharp knife in your hand, because that could hurt. You know what I mean? Just don't do that at all, people. Tomatophile, what's going on? How are you doing today? You know, in other completely unrelated news, it's because of Tominophile's assistance that tomorrow I'm going to officially become a homeowner. So, yay! Big shout outs to Tominophile, yay! And I still got to figure out what I need to bring to that closing because the lawyer has not gotten back to me yet. And knowing me, it's going to be 1 o'clock tomorrow. The closing is at 2 p.m. And then they're going to say, oh yeah, by the way, you need to bring this, this, and this. I'm like, you didn't tell me that in time. Thank you, Tigirl. You were homeowner for co-owner. Yes, I know that. But I'm going to be a solo homeowner, so I'm going to be a... It's the first time I'm going through the process the way that I'm going through the process, and I think you know what I mean by that. And what bargains did you get at the thrift shop? Okay, right now I'm certainly smelling those apple peels. Whoops. I had a firm hold on that. But it wanted to fly out. And like I said, I'm just doing a rough chop because at this point I made some of them too big, too small. I have all the time in the world to do this, so it doesn't have to be any particular size at this point. All right. So this is a little overloaded. Let me just toss these away. Hawaiian shirts for $4? Okay. I can't remember the last time I wore a Hawaiian shirt. It wasn't when I was in Hawaii. Because I've never been. Oh, by the way, Tominophile, you might be interested to know that I put my name in the lottery to try to participate in a particular race. And you're never going to guess where that race is going to be. It's not going to be for another year or so. And there's absolutely zero guarantee that I'll be able to get in. Because it's just that popular of a race. But you're never going to guess where it is next year. Iceland. Ha! No. Although you're closer than I thought you would be for your first guess. And I am aware that they do have a marathon in Iceland, but I cannot recall what time of year it is. And I figured the last thing that I want to do is go to a country known for its extraordinarily volatile weather conditions and then decide to run for 26 miles. Although I am aware that there is the race down in Reykjavik. Though I think it's a lap race, it's not a point-to-point. Toronto, Copenhagen. No, the Berlin Marathon. So this morning, just by complete happenstance, I go online to the website for the Chicago Marathon, the New York City Marathon. One thing led to another, and I saw that registration opened for the Berlin Marathon. The lottery, at least. So unless I was going to be guaranteed entry and can prove that I did a marathon in under 3 hours, 20 minutes, which will never happen, I put my name down on the list to make sure that if the opportunity does arise, that I don't miss out. So it'd be really cool if I can get to go to Germany next year, but then, you know, abuse my body by running 26.2 miles. Okay. Perfect timing. All right, they're in there for another 15 minutes, so the first toss has been done. And apparently the smell is not very appealing.
Oh, God.
What?
It smells wonderful down here.
Oh, and I forgot to zest the lemon. So I was going to want to zest the lemon before I put it in, but I forgot to, so...
Can I open this?
Shrug. Yes, you can. If you open up the package, can you put it inside the... You can dump the entire thing inside the pumpkin's mouth.
Go ahead. Oh, God. Good idea. Who do you have on the phone with you?
I don't. I'm doing the stream thing right now.
Oh, okay. Hello, whoever's there. Oh, God. Sorry.
What?
With my hair.
That's schmajamom, everybody.
Oh, my God.
As I drop my lemon on the countertop.
Oh, I dropped my whole hair. This is cute.
Yeah, I have this thing. Mr. Fartbrain says hi, schmajamom.
Hi.
Kid Girl says hello, schmajit mom.
Hello.
Yeah, so I completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I have a thing for pumpkins. It's an unhealthy obsession. When I was at a museum a few days ago, actually no, it was about 2 weeks ago at this point. 2 weeks ago, this weekend, I had the opportunity to purchase and even make a glass pumpkin, which I have upstairs. I don't think I'm going to show it on stream because I know the moment I show on stream is going to be the last moment it's in one piece. But I had the opportunity to do that. I purchased way too many glass pumpkins. And even today I purchased... Let me get the sugar in there before I forget. What's that? I purchased a candy dish that is in the shape of pumpkins. So, if she's going to volunteer it. And it's filled with candy corn. Because that's the way we do things over at this house. That's the way I like to do things. Now, I don't know if we have like a juicer or anything like that for juicing lemons.
No. Sorry.
That's quite alright. It's making that squishy, squishy sound. Suppose you were an idiot and suppose you were a member of Congress, but I repeat myself.
Look who said that.
Yeah, Mark Twain. Mark Twain said that. Housewarming to yourself, yeah, I'll consider it that. I mean, you think that I'm obsessed with pumpkins, that, you know, when the fall is over, I'm going to put the pumpkins away into storage. No, 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 no. There are certain things that are pumpkin-esque that are going to be out all year round. So.
Like this?
Yeah. So, my mom, that's an arrangement that you made, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, so you can come over here if you want. So, see, there you go. Tons of pumpkins in the arrangement. It's enough to have you out of your gourd. I'm waiting for Taminophile to redeem the boo. He knows what I mean. All right. So apparently my hands are... You too. Apparently my hands do not have any unknown injuries upon them because I just squeezed 2 lemons today for 2 different recipes. And I did not hurt myself. Not that I said I would hurt myself, but leave it to an opportunity when you squeeze lemons to figure out, oh no, I have a cut on my finger. Okay. So that is that. Let me get those on. Let me get those out of the way. That goes in the sink. I'm going to get my hands cleaned up. I'm going to clean up the station a little bit so I can get the peppermint patties back out and start the next phase of what's going on. In about 10 minutes, the peels should be done or near done, but I have a lot of flexibility with time there. Counting stitches can't boo. Oh yeah, by the way, chat, I'm so addicted to pumpkins that I saw this when I was going in the supermarket and I couldn't resist. It's a tiniest little air plant, so you keep it in, you know, medium light conditions. You water it maybe once or twice a week with a few spritzes, but that's it. Isn't this adorable? Isn't this adorable? Tell me this isn't adorable. Anyway, so I have that going on. I have the chocolate that's ready to go. Let me put that aside. And yeah. All right, right now I'm just kind of tossing the apples around. All right, so about 8, cute, squee! About 8 large Fuji apples, peeled, chopped up. The zest of 1 lemon, the juice of 1 lemon, although I feel like I gotten ripped off with that lemon because it wasn't a lot of juice in it, but whatever. Also 1/3 cup or so of sugar and 1/3 cup or so of water. I don't really need a lot of water because these guys are going to give off a lot. And if they don't, then I can make do with cornstarch in a little bit. Rather than putting a lid on it, I'm going to put a parchment cap right on top of the apples so that I can make sure that all the temperature and steam stays as low as possible to cook these guys. They're on a medium-high heat right now, so I can get the heat up, but I don't want to burn them. So I'm going to use my ears and my nose as a way to make sure that everything's going to be fine there. So let me just make that parchment cap. Then I'm going to go to part 2 of the peppermint patties that are being made from scratch. Taminophile, you didn't catch that earlier on. Tigirl, you were here for that first part. Ain Mosnia, I don't think you were here for that first part, I don't think. But anyway, yes, this is a 2 recipe stream. Do exclamation point menu in chat to see what I am making during the stream. And I'm going to get that chamois ready. You know, I had a pair of scissors. Oh. Even those little candy corn pumpkins are delicious. Chat, I have a problem. I have an addiction. The only thing that's pumpkin that I am not obsessed by is pumpkin spice. Because it's not pumpkin spice. Pumpkin doesn't have a spice. You're putting pumpkin pie seasoning in there. And when I was growing up, there wasn't pumpkin pie. There wasn't pumpkin pie spice. There wasn't pumpkin spice this, that, or the other thing. You just bought the allspice, clove, ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon and combined them to your tastes to make your pumpkin pie spice. That's all there is to it. And yeah, I like those spices. I like pumpkin pie, but it doesn't really do anything for me. I'm not getting my pumpkin spice latte. Although I will say this, I have had coffee that was labeled as pumpkin spice, where there was no juices or anything like that added to it. The actual coffee bean had cinnamon and clove in it, and that's how it was brewed. And that was delicious. That was okay. But I also have a thing for cloves. So, yeah. I have this essential oil for cloves as well, so at any given point my bedroom might smell like cloves. Alright. So I started off with a square of parchment and I folded it over and over and over and over. And what I had done was created this parchment disc. There we go. So instead of putting a lid on top, by putting this parchment lid directly on top of the apples, I'm keeping the heat as low as possible within the pot to gather the steam. And hopefully it gains its steam and momentum anytime soon. All right. Whoops. Let us see how these peels are doing. Oof. Peels are looking all right. So after they come out, I'm going to put them on another piece of parchment just to get them to drain a little bit more. But that's all. Those are on. The apples are ready to go. Here are the peppermint balls. Yes! They're doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing. So let me grab something flat and smoosh them down a little bit. That may not have been the smartest of ideas, but hey, it's what I got. Let me get some wax paper for that. I had wax. Didn't I take out the wax paper? I should have taken out the wax paper.
We have any left.
No, I used some earlier today.
We did, okay. Then it should be in there.
Yeah, because I literally just used it. But I probably did not put it back.
Uh-oh. What's that over there?
Where?
It says trickling down it.
Parchment.
Oh, it's parchment. Okay. Look.
Ah, candle snuffer.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Got a flower at the end.
Aluminum. Parchment. No, I really did. I took out the...
I believe you, but I don't know what you look either.
The wax paper before.
The
I
wax
probably left it
paper.
somewhere in the open thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to be using it again.
Yeah,
That's
look
the
in
Reynolds
there.
wrap.
See if it's in there.
No,
Nothing?
nada.
No, zip zilch.
Right.
So you like this candle snuffer, huh?
Yeah.
It's cute. So chair. Is it here somewhere? You're stealing your candy, you know that.
Nah. It's
parchment. That's parchment. That's plastic wrap. That's parchment. Aluminum. Aluminum. Aluminum.
Do you know that in Australia they say aluminium?
A lot of the former colonies say aluminium. Ah, there it is.
Aha! There you found it. Okay. Good to go.
Ah, there we go. All right, so hopefully with this extra bit of wax paper, me squishing this down will still make it easier to remove. Now, I mentioned it before. These recipes could both be fails. Maybe this entire stream could be all for naught because the pie doesn't come together in the way that I want, or the peppermint patties don't come together in the way that I want. But that doesn't matter. Half the time this is all about experimentation anyway, and just having fun doing what you're doing. If these work out great, great. If they don't work out, whatever. I still have something that I can munch on when I have the munchies. So anyway, the next step that I have here after I flattened my balls is that I'm going to put these in the freezer to have them set up a little bit more. Now they all are a little misshapen. They're not quite even. And you know what? That's just fine. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can sneak these into the freezer for a few. Somewhere. Meh. There we go. That is a very good attitude. Never had an attitude that good. That's why I watch. Because when it comes to food, you really have to look out for, is there the possibility of cross-contamination? In this case, no. I don't have anything to worry about when it comes to working with chicken or anything like that. And there wasn't any flavor that I worked on today that coincidentally doesn't go well with something else. Is there any opportunity for food poisoning? No. As I mentioned, there's nothing that could possibly be related to a full foodborne illness that I have made. So that's out. There's no raw egg, raw chicken, raw meat, or anything like that. No risk of cross-contamination. Is there a risk of mess? Yes, but I'm taking the precautions. I'm cleaning as I go. So what's the absolute worst that happens? That these recipes don't come out the way that I want? But I can still eat them. I guess that's the way to go about it. Anyway, I'm hearing the water beginning to simmer underneath the apples. And I'm just letting them go. I just want to cook them down to their compote. Whoops, as I send that flying. And they are getting a bit warmer. When I miss cooking or baking, I just want to crawl into a hole and disappear. Wait. When I mess you cooking or baking... Oh, when I mess up cooking or baking, I just want to crawl into a hole and disappear. Yeah. I have had that feeling too. Oof. That smells good. Oh, when I mess up cooking or baking. So, I'm not sure if he's still here, but when I was living with Tominophile, we made dinner a lot. And one of the meals that I made was this nice, I want to say it was a pork loin, sliced pork loin. When I mess up typing. It was this delicious pork loin, and I was going to do something nice with some Thai chili peppers, honey, soy, flavors that I typically use a lot when it comes to Asian recipes. And one thing led to another, and I completely messed up my timing. Hi, Tomatophile. And I left them in the oven too long. So here I made this delicious dinner, but I burnt the pork, and I was horrified. Now, granted, I still ate it. Did something fall? Granted, I still ate it and had a really good time. Tomatophile ate it, although I tried to eat all the burnt parts first, so he didn't have to. But it was still good. All right. I'm hearing the apples simmer. I just have to wait till they get soft. And I'm going to need something that'll help me get these in now. That's perfect. Okay. We are moving right along, people. You always ate my dinners when I didn't like the way they turned out. Well, yes, because they were delicious. We are our own worst critics. So when it comes to making our own food, dinner, dessert, whatever it is, we always have this image in our heads about how things should turn out. And if it doesn't turn out that way, you want to tell yourself, oh, it's going to be okay. And in that case, it's a lot like life. If somebody that you really care for and appreciate went out of their way to make you something, or on the other side of it, if you cared for somebody enough that you made something for somebody else, wouldn't it be hurtful, or wouldn't you want to punch them in the face if they said it wasn't good enough? And if that's going to be the case, why do you say that about your own cooking? You know, if somebody wants to put down something and you work so hard on, why do you accept it when you tell it to yourself? That's not cool, and that's something I'm trying to work on. And I beat myself up at the moment of, I wanted this to be perfect, but it didn't turn out that way. So now I'm laughing at the situation, but at the time I was crushed. I just wanted to make it good. So that's the only thing I can really say about that situation in retrospect, and I hope that others pick up. The first time I made sourdough, it turned out to be a flat pancake, and Bubba still tried to eat it. LOL, true love. See, that's what I'm talking about. Appreciation for the situation. So this is about 2 cups of chocolate or so, give or take. It's 2 bars of dark chocolate that I had just microwaved. And you know, the number one enemy to chocolate that's melted is water. Never, ever, ever introduce water to molten chocolate. It'll seize up. Now the chocolate I'm using, Mr. Fartbrains, I know that you are a chocolate dude. Wow, that didn't come out the way that I intended it. But I know you like chocolate. This is actually a blend of 76%, so classic dark chocolate, and some of the 56%. I still have that brick of 100% in my fridge. See, there we go. Oh yeah. Tomatophile is dying to make someone's chicken soup. That is a rose robe that you're wearing.
No kidding. You like it?
Oh yeah. Okay. Now it's time to check on the chips.
Uh-oh. Oh my god. Ooh, can I have one?
They are nowhere near cool, and they're probably going to be a little soggy, but I don't
Oh my god.
necessarily care.
Okay. Alright. I'm not gonna touch them. You know I want to taste everything.
There's the issue with the chips, though, is the first time that I'm making them, and according to the recipe, which I followed to a T, these still make them out gummy. They're not crisp, but they still have to cool, and I figure that the sugar that's used has something to do with it.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't come out well, I'm just going to chop them up and put them on the top of the pie.
Yeah. This thing is reversible. Look. See?
Nice. Is that what you got through the
big
website?
box, yeah, one of them.
Ah.
Yeah. You know, there's nothing like sweetheart stuff coming in from QVC. And Amazon, of course.
By the way, Tomatophile, do you like my mug?
It's so cute!
It's got my face on it.
You should see his book bag. You would never believe it.
Oh yeah, the book bag that Talk Custom made for me, the book bag that he commissioned, came in the day I was supposed to leave for the race in Corning, New York. It came in that morning, so it came in several days before it was supposed to. So I'm like, I have something to bring with me.
A lot of pumpkins on it.
Oh yeah, I commissioned I want happy pumpkins. I don't like, see the tip jar that's in the lower left of the screen that looks like a little jack-o'-lantern basket? Those are scary pumpkins. I don't like scary pumpkins. I like cute pumpkins like this. So I asked him, and I gave him a reference picture. Just put cute pumpkins all over it. Nice ones, not the ones that look like they're gonna bite my jugular out. And he did just that. He gave me a bunch of little itty-bitty cute pumpkins on there.
Aren't we all kids at heart?
We are all kids at heart.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I think me saying cook from the back seat is causing the mod to react. What's that? I'm allowing it. Oh, I see. Backseat cook. You can put them in a lower heat so the sugar doesn't burn and they might dry out a bit. Yeah, so right now I just took them out of the oven. They're resting on the pan so they have the residual heat coming up. And the worst case that happens is that, they do come out a little bit gummy or whatever it be. But this is an experiment. I'm following the recipe from scratch to start, and I'm going to make adjustments from there. So let me just put the oven back to 355. Actually, it should be at 375. I'm putting the oven to 375. Okay, the apples are starting to go. They're starting to cook. And it's so interesting because I'm getting this very strong, good, but strong smell of lemon coming from the apples themselves. And I have this cinnamon coming from the chips that just came out of the oven. It smells all good and fresh. So I think the flavors are going to be where I want them to be. The textures are going to be a little bit questionable. And please cover your ears if this offends you. I'm also using a store-bought pie shell. For the pie weekend, I will be making my own pie crust. But now it's all about testing the filling and testing the toppings, seeing how they work together. And I didn't want to spend the time making a pie crust for this particular stream, for which I've been on for only an hour 35. You can put them in... Wait, what? But why what? Why did it take you out for saying the word backseat cook? I have no idea. Mods are weird. Save your energy. Actually, Tig-Girl, when it comes to making a pie crust, I do like making the entire thing. I do like putting together the pie from start to finish. That whole aspect of being a full handmade pie, that's just the way that I would go. So I think for the spirit of the challenge, I want to make something else authentically me. Back seats are butts? No butt talk. All right. So the lid is coming off because I could see some of the bubbling coming up. I'm going to try to let some of the water evaporate from the apples. Not all, but most. Okay, LOL. And I'm sort of in a holding pattern because I already melted the chocolate, which is going to stay for a little bit of time. In fact, I want to put that on something soft so I don't have to worry about heat transference. There goes that theory. I think I went in and I allowed certain words. So I went into the mod and I actually allowed the word fingering and so on because of yarn talk, bulky weight yarn, whatever it may be. And I think I allowed the word butt because butt is one of the funniest words of the English language. You can't even insult somebody by calling them a butt anymore or any derivative of that word. I mean, some of it may be a little too crude for me to say in the stream because I am an old-fashioned geezer from the 1950s, but even so, it's one of the funniest words. It's the funniest part of the human anatomy, the butt. I mean, granted, I do so much running that my butt makes Kansas look like Colorado, but still, there's nothing here. Nothing. And I'm not ashamed at all. All right, so the apples are mostly done. I'm just waiting for a few to soften, and when the water evaporates, I can mash them because I want them to be mostly dry. So that's what I'm waiting for right now. Follow that up with putting it in the crust and then into the oven. I'm putting it at a very high temperature at first, just so the outside cooks or whatever it may be, and then I'll lower the temperature. Fart knocker was the funniest insult. I miss it. When was that used, though? Spleens are hilarious, but is spleens... Okay, you know what? Story time. And this is relevant because Mom is here, and she originated the phrase in my family, okay? So, normally, if you can't hear what somebody says, you go, huh? Can you say that again? What? Or anything like that. Well, something happened where in the event, they asked for my mom to take a look on the TV screen. The response was, "What's wrong with my spleen?" So now in my family, whenever somebody can't hear something that somebody says, the response is, "What? Huh? What's wrong with my spleen?" So she coined the phrase, "What's wrong with my spleen?" for, can you say that again? Early 90s. All right, so I'm taking the pie crust out of the freezer. And my pie crust broke. I can't run. I did a tiny bit of speed work last week and my ankle exploded. Ooh, that's not good. We don't like exploding ankles. All right, look at this. My crust already broke. And that transfers well to all generations with the screen, yes.
Oh, it smells heavenly down here.
Right now it's just the apples, which I'm trying to
What do you think?
evaporate. Ooh, I like that. It's a lacy top.
A pink one. I have a black one too. Same
Ooh, black lace for Halloween. That would actually work.
Well, not only that, but I have a witch's hat that's enormous with a circle on top and a spider hanging from the end. I gotta take it out.
Yeah. Oh, these apples. All right. Let's see. Okay. The apple chips are crispy. Hey girl, they're crispy. They're chewy after I get them into my mouth, but they're crispy.
Something smells unbelievably good.
Listen. They're crispy.
Okay.
Tig Girl wants to know if I'm taking you to the new place.
Oh, here.
What? Oh, good. Let me have one. God, it sure looks like we've got a messy kitchen here.
I'm working on it.
Ooh, goody. Ooh, thank you.
Let's try that.
Yeah. Ooh.
They're crispy.
They sure are. Really good.
Now, some of them toward the center are a little bit loose, but I'm not worried about that because I could probably just put them in the toaster or whatever it is. They'll set when I put them back on the oven. Right now, I'm a little frustrated with my apples still being a little liquidy. But I also wish I had a masher. Do we have a potato masher? Do we have a potato masher somewhere? Once upon a time, I used to love making mashed potatoes. And yeah, why is it not evaporating? It's taking its time. Anyway, so the pie crust is out. I'm going to see if I can get started on some of these peppermint patties. Alrighty. Well, you know what? I'm not going to lick my finger because that's not sanitary. Now, Chocolate and I do not have a lot of fun together because Chocolate and I have had a lot of arguments. I'm talking about when I bake it with it or if I do something molten.
You know what?
Because if I do molten chocolate or anything along that line, I never get it to set up 100%. But all of that is my fault because whenever I work with chocolate, I never temper it, which is bad, I know. Always temper your chocolate, people. Always temper your chocolate. Because I like my chocolate even tempered. So what I am going to do is I'm going to use my special fork, but I'm also going to use a chopstick to help me get it out of the chocolate. Should be working a lot more quickly than I am. But all that's happening is that once these are set, go going in. Alrighty, apples. Apples, I've had it up to here with you. The apples are mostly cooked. It's just a case that there's a lot of water that's still there, so I'm working around with that. And I wish I had some sort of masher to make this a little easier, because they're all soft, which is where I want. And much like I mentioned, most of my other favorite cooking utensils is in storage. So I'm trying to mash them against the wall of the pan. Which is not very entertaining television right now. I know it seems like I'm off camera, but I'm still here. I am trying to make some work of this. All right, it's thickening out just beautifully right now. I do have a second camera, but I think it's either broken or the adapter is. And unfortunately, I don't have my other adapter to really test it, so for the time being, I'm streaming with only one camera. All right. So here's my broken pre-made crust. My apples are going in, and I'm only forecasting that maybe about half will actually fit. Yep. Only about half are fitting. And then I'm just going to put this directly into the oven. And the rest of the apples will just have to be nice. All right, so we're still making peppermint patties here. So what else has got going on, peoples? I haven't lost all of you, have I? This is the kind of stream where if there was anybody that knew anything about cooking that is tuning in right now, they're going to be going, what is he doing? All right. So it is the baseball postseason, and of course everybody is going to all these different baseball games, watching the Houston Astros, the Boston Red Sox, the Milwaukee Brewers, the LA Dodgers. But you would think that all of these baseball tickets are going to be really expensive. Apparently not. In fact, the Red Sox tickets are always going to be a good value, for you can always be promised that at every Red Sox game, there's bound to be a good price to be had. Of course, that joke only works if you're a baseball fan and you know what price is. Temper your chocolate, bro. Yeah, I know. But you know what, Mr. Fartbrains? Even at games where there is not a good price to be had, there's bound to be a sale. As I flop my chocolate bonbon back in to the molten chocolate. Only thing that'll make this recipe better is if I had only thing that'll make this recipe better is if I had sprinkles or something like that to put on top. Oh, yes, they're firming up. They're firming up. I don't have sprinkles, but I do have candy corn. Where does chat? Okay, everyone. Leontine Price, yeah. I knew you were going to say that, Dominophile. I knew you were going to say that because I've known you for so long. I completely lost my train of thought. I really did. I was in the middle of saying something and then I got derailed. Oh, yeah. Where does chat stand on the whole candy corn debate? Do we like candy corn? Do we not like candy corn? Do we take the Lewis Black sentiment that all candy corn was made at some point in the 1950s and they just collect it and resell it because nobody else eats it? I love candy corn. I would eat it any time of the year, but naturally I keep it for Halloween. I'm going to put these back in the freezer for a few moments to firm them up again. By the way, knowing some Red Sox jokes could play to your benefit or detriment when you learn that your manager, who's responsible for your, job and paycheck, is also a Red Sox fan. So be very careful. Not a fan of candy corn. My joke really put a halt on that. You're taking bets on that. I think my quote of candy corn in the late 70s. That's okay, Tigger. I'll have the rest of your candy corn. Don't worry. I'll keep you safe. Now, I just did the cardinal sin, and I just dragged molten chocolate across my unfinished work. When I finished work. All right, let me let these set up. I'm just going to try one of these out right now. Here we go. Trying one out right now. Oh my God. Oh. They are soft. They are delicious. They are very, very, very melty. Do a drizzle design. I can't do a drizzle design. It didn't temper my chocolate, bro. But they taste really good. I will say that. All right. I don't think those sounds are allowed on Twitch. What's up? Okay, do you want to go on stream to show people the way you're looking?
Would you believe this? This is the black one.
By the way, this is what my mom is going to be doing for Halloween. Don't be shocked.
I've got a spider at the end of the hat too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No spider hanging around there.
Yeah. Plus, I gotta wear makeup, of course, and let me tell you, it's pretty gruesome.
Ah.
I make sure of that nobody knows who I am when I go to the center, and we all are dressed up, and half of us are dressed up as witches. I always win.
Naturally. Tig Girl says, I love her. Wow, that's a great hat.
Thank you.
And I've managed to keep the chocolate off my white shirt, people.
Oh my God, I don't believe it.
Oh well. These are still melty, so when they're set, I'm going to put them in the fridge for a little bit.
Yeah.
I still have more to go, but they were starting to not
Time
be
to
nice.
go?
What?
These look so good.
What?
They look so good. I feel like I want to grab one and steal one. But I'm not going to do that to him. I think they're waiting for a response from you, you know. You can't keep people waiting.
Oh, yeah. I'm eating so many of these apple chips. I might not have any left over for the pie.
What?
By the way, Girl, I think what made this recipe work is that the chips themselves, the apple peels, are just a tiny bit chewy, but there was so much sugar that was added to this. It's about 3 tablespoons of sugar to 8 apple peels. That I think it's caramelized and hardened enough to compensate and make them crispy, but they're crunchy. There's some that I didn't toss that might be a little bit on the soggy side, but that's enough. Take them all, Mom. My kingdom for a kitchen towel. We just use paper towels at this place, which I think is a little bit wasteful, but hey, it's what they got, and when in Rome. Perfect caramel. Well, not the chewy caramel. This is more like crunchy caramel. And it was a 300-degree oven, too, for about 30 minutes. I think any more than that, and the caramel would start to burn. If anything, I would have reduced the heat to evaporate it more, but I might be doing this as a snack tonight. Again, I hope it works out. I've yet to get to the final product. All right. So the apple pie has been in the oven for about 10 minutes at 375. I'm going to reduce it to 350 and let it go for another 25 before I double check things. Because I like to put it at a higher temperature to start, just to kind of get the top done. Caramelized. Or caramelized, depending on your pronunciation, I bet. All right. Some of these don't want to come off as easily as the others. I like how pliable these are, but it only really works out when they're cold. So I had to add to the recipe for the peppermint patties. I ended up needing to add an entire extra cup of confectioner sugar, but I'm only chalking that up to how humid it might be here. That's the only thought that I have as to why. They taste great, though. They're not as sickeningly sweet as I thought they were going to be because of the extra sugar. Because in addition to the sugar, there's also cornstarch in this to help, I assume, with the pliability. Let me just put this back into the microwave for about 10 seconds. I try not to cook with a lot of sugar. I'm wondering if I reduce the maple syrup and then toss the peels and then back if I get a similar to do. I don't know. I know maple syrup itself is closer to corn syrup in that at room temperature it is liquid. Sugars, when they get to a certain temperature, can harden. So I imagine that if you're trying to get the same result, you might have to heat up the maple syrup first. I had to do that for, again, a Canadian recipe, or Quebecois recipe, Paudin Chaumer, where you had to cook the sugar and the maple syrup first before you were able to use it as the sauce. I haven't made Paudin Chaumer in like a year, jeez. I used to make it all the time. Ask Tominophile. I made it more often than I really should have. It's like a vanilla sponge cake that has this cinnamony, sweet sauce that you pour on top when it goes into the oven, but when it's done baking, ends up on the bottom of the whole thing. It's so interesting how it works, but oh my goodness. All right, that's going to be a really big one. And that one's a really tiny one, so let me see if I can compensate. I'm going to take some of this big one. I'm going to put it on the tiny one. Roll it up, flatten, and work with it right now. Everything all right up there? I'm hearing boom, boom, crash. Alrighty, everyone. Well, if you're tuning in right now, I'm at the tail end of making the... Whoopsies. The tail end of making the peppermint patties. But because I didn't temper my chocolate like a good boy, it's kind of melty. And I'm trying to work with them as fast as I can to make sure that everything sets in time. And I have to find a way to fit this into a fridge that's already a little overstuffed. So, before moving out of my original place, oops, that's going to cause a stain. Before moving out of my original place, I had quite a few groceries that were still in the refrigerator. And I didn't feel like being wasteful, so I brought them with me. And they included probably about half a dozen hot sauces that you get to keep in the fridge. So when I came to my parents' place and I loaded up the refrigerator with the stuff that needs to be, I'll let you guess, because I left that peppermint in there, that was not a smart idea. I'll let you guess, when you look in the fridge, what belongs to me and what belongs to my parents? All right. I only have 4 more of these things. 1. Actually, I have 5 more. 6 more. Oh my word. Probably only have space for 4 more on this sheet. I have a very unhealthy obsession with hot sauces. There is a place not too far from where my sister lives that sells nothing but boutique hot sauces. Now, I'm not talking about Frank's Red Hot or anything like that, McElhenny. These are, no joke, small batch, locally made hot sauces, which are insane. I think there's a show on YouTube called Hot Ones, I think, and it's all about interviews with celebrities of various industries. And the premise is they ask you a question, and you have to have a hot sauce along with it. But each hot sauce gets progressively hotter as you go. And if the artist or actor or whoever is on stage makes it through all 12 hot sauces, they're given however much time to plug whatever it is they want to plug. Rachel Ray did it. Mario Batali could not. Jim Gaffigan, I think the comedian, was only able to get halfway through. Such a great show. I typed in a question asking if you ever heard of that show. When he started talking about it, the one in the middle gets him every time. Yeah, actually, I'm in a little bit of limbo right now. So, let me see. As you're hearing things crashing as they're falling out of the fridge. Let me take the chocolate off here. Oh my word. This was a nice little trivet and I stained it with a little bit of chocolate. It's not good. But you know what? I'm going to throw it in the washing machine a little bit later. That'll help. Alright, did I have any others in here? I don't think I had any others in here. No. Alrighty. Meh. That's where I'm using paper towels left and right. Alright, so the first one, Bacchanal pepper sauce. This has Scotch bonnet peppers, habanero, chilies, habanero chilies, excuse me, cider vinegar, pineapple, papaya, onion, garlic, tamarind, mustard, ginger, lime, cayenne, allspice, cinnamon, cilantro, and sea salt. Okay, so this is a fairly hot, but the tamarind is what really stands out in this. Otherwise, it seems like a very nice Caribbean flavor. But because of the tamarind, I can't really have this with too much. It doesn't seem to go with much of what I have. But whenever I make a rice dish, and I just put this on top of the rice, which is all that I have. So it's called Bacchanal pepper sauce. It has a bit of tamarind in it. Really like it. This is one I picked up at TJ Maxx. You know, one of those, we're going to buy the surplus that other stores can't sell and we'll sell it to you at a discount ones. I bought it simply because of the name. Fat Cat Puri Puri Sauce. It's a peri-peri sauce that you use for hot wings. Peri-peri, I think, is a Portuguese seasoning. This has onions, water, canola oil, tomato paste, apple cider vinegar, ginger, garlic, sugar, paprika, peri-peri peppers, and xanthan gum for the binder. You love tamarind? I don't love the taste of it. I don't hate it, otherwise I wouldn't be mostly done with this bottle, but I can't seem to find a lot of foods that I typically eat or make that go well with it. But this is really nice, and it's really hot. I use this for any kind of roast veg that I do for myself, anything with rice and so on. So there it is, Fat Cat Peri Peri. I also have this one. This one is my pizza sauce, serrano pepper and basil. I love the fact that they labeled this one mild, because they had another one that was ghost pepper and blueberry that was actually less spicy than this, but they rated it hotter, which I don't quite get. So this one they label as mild. It's got a decent amount of heat to it. Their Ghost Pepper Blueberry is labeled 3 out of 5 rather than 2 out of 5, but is less spicy than this. But I like it. The Serrano and Basil. So this one I use for pizza exclusively. I used to put a lot of ketchup on my pizza. Don't ask. And I'm just gonna put this down as it is. I'm gonna make this statement right now. My favorite hot sauce of all time. This is probably my 3rd bottle that I've ever been through, and because I can only pick it up in New York City, I can't get it that often. Karma Sauce Cherry Bomb. Its primary flavors are sour cherry and habanero pepper. So it's hot, but it goes well with any sandwich I've ever made. So turkey sandwich, ham sandwich, roast beef, anything. This goes well with it. I've had it for pork chops and so on. So this is my all-time absolute favorite hot sauce I've ever had. And the cherry taste is actually pretty strong in this. So this is one of those few fruit-based hot sauces that actually stand up to what they advertise. So the Karma Sauce brand is actually pretty good as well. But this is my #1 hot sauce. Period. End of story. Full stop. Right there. Karma Sauce. So there's that one. There's my exclusive pizza one. And I have a few others that are upstairs in my room/pantry that are not refrigeration required, but those are your basic sriracha, garlic chili oil, and so forth. These are 4 of mine that I use all the time. All right. So now I have to find a way to get these into there. I got this. Which is not big enough. I need something else to go under it. I had a cutting board. Let me see. Meh. So I'm just going to put these in the fridge to set for a little bit. Alright, this is tricky. Got it. So, I love my parents' kitchen because it's a lot larger than many of the kitchens that I had growing up. Though the people who engineered this house had designed the refrigerator to be back in a corner. In fact, I can just show you. Okay? So this is what I'm dealing with. I got the fridge here. I can open it up, but there's a door stop right here. So I can't open it up all the way. So if I'm trying to get something like that size into the top shelf here, I have to put it in sideways and twist it. Because the place where they engineered to put the refrigerator can't open up all the way with the door right there. That's the kind of dealing with ambiguity, as my workplace would call it, that you have to put up with. Alrighty. So I'm just going to put a few things into the dishwasher because, hey, why not? You got to keep yourself clean. That's no bueno. No. Non es bueno. But, you know, a lot of times cooking and baking has more to do with the obstacles that you're trying to put up with than trying to make something that's delicious. Anyway, let me get that in there, and that's in there. I'm just getting everything in here that can go in there, Knife goes on the top rack. This goes somewhere in the bottom here. I don't know why I'm narrating what I'm doing as I'm doing it. It's just a habit, I guess. And then the cutting board. Crash, bang. The knife is clean because I washed that by hand. Let's get the glass in there that I had used to pull the spices. I have this bowl I should find a place for. And it does not close with that one there. Close with that there. Yes, it will. Anyway. I should rename this part of the stream to Schmodgent Does the Dishes. Okay. We want all to know the order you put stuff in the disher. And this one, okay, so this is something my mom brought up in a previous conversation. Some dishwashers, you know, most, if not all of them, have 2 racks on them. And the top rack usually reserved for cups and other delicates. Right underneath that top rack, there usually is another spray mechanism. I grew up with one where the spray mechanism was there. They have one as well. But the dishwasher that I had at my previous house didn't. There was just a large column that came up in the middle of the base of the dishwasher, if that makes sense, and sprayed the top and the bottom evenly. So, and apparently my mom says, and my dad as well, it really doesn't matter how you load it up, just as long as it fits in there. I really don't care. It gets in the clean place either way, eh? All right, 10 minutes left on that. Some of the apples are browning. We like it when the apples are browning. All right. And we have the apple chips, which are sticky. But what I might do is I might put them back in the oven for a few minutes to dehydrate them or cook them a little bit more. Because some of them are still kind of sticking to the parchment. And yeah, there we go. What did you say, Mr. Fartbrains, before? Some of these sounds are not allowed to be on Twitter or Twitch. Or at least not in the creative side of things. All right. It's such a beautiful day outside if it wasn't so bloody cold. That would have been bad if that dropped all over the floor. I still have to figure out something I'm going to do with all that extra chocolate. So I'm going to see if I can reform it. Because I hate to let chocolate go to waste. Because the first cardinal rule about chocolate is that you never add water to molten chocolate. The second cardinal rule about chocolate is that you never waste molten chocolate. Let's try to remelt it. See if I can find a decent enough spatula. Try to get it all onto the paper. So how is everybody doing so far? Everybody chilling, doing all right? You do not want to see what this looks like, by the way. It looks like somebody had an accident on a piece of parchment paper. But hey, this is dark chocolate that may or may not have traces of peppermint in it. All right. Whee! Doing okay so far. Anybody working on anything in particular for dinner tonight? Trying to get work done so you can be creative? Wasn't one of you saying that you were going to be making pizza tonight? I gotta figure out what I'm gonna be doing for dinner. Leftover carnitas and corn cactus saute. Yo quiero carnitas. Carnitas es más bueno. All I'm doing now is I'm trying to make an envelope for the remaining chocolate. I know it doesn't look really appetizing, but hey. After that sets, it's done. I got some leftover apples that did not fit into the pie. I'm not sure what to call this apple pie because I'm putting the chips on top of it. So how do you do your corn cactus saute? dare I say, is it something that you pre-buy? Did you butcher the cactus yourself? Did it come in a jar? Tell me more about your corn cactus saute, if you don't mind. You might be lurking, you might be working on other things. I do appreciate and understand that, but I'm curious. How does it work out? I gotta be really careful because I'm eating the topping of my pie. All right. All right. Am I out of coffee too? Yeah. I also have lunch I have to put away. For lunch today, I made pearl barley with lemon and parsley with chicken sausage on the side. A chicken apple sausage that accompanied it, just for the sake of having the protein. Was pretty good. Was pretty good, not gonna lie. All right. Just inspecting the pie, let's see. I was hoping to find the cactus paddles or nopales at my local mercado. Nopales. But they only had jarred, so I drained them and then cooked them down a bit. They're a lot like okra and a bit slimy. Okay. Are they, I imagine that, because I've never worked with nopales, I never worked with the cactus leaf itself. Obviously, it may come without the cactus tines in there. But I'm also thinking, is it something that you have to wash and peel beforehand? But it has the properties of okra? It's one of those things where if I try to bring it home and try to make it for my mom and dad, they might go, "What is this?" If I make nopales for my friends and family, they might put the nope in nopales. That's the first apple pie timer. I just looked at it. I'm going to leave it in there for another 15 to 20 minutes because I'm not sure if the crust is finished on the bottom. The crust on the pie around the edges looks slightly golden, but it's not the color that I like. So I'm going to put the timer back on. For 25 minutes, so it comes into about 50 minutes altogether. They look a lot like green peppers and had a bit of a tangy flavor. Okay. I like tang. Tangy flavors. See, clean as you go. So now with all of that stuff that we did today, I just have to wash the pot. I just have to wash my Instapot for lunch after I get the leftovers out of there. I just got the barley in that. And the pan that I use for the chocolate. All that, and we're all good to go, bruh. If they had the thorns, you could just scrape them off and chop them into little chunks. I had a cactus salad at a restaurant once. It was awesome. Speaking of awesome, oh yeah. This is the leftover apples that I had because I got huge ones, so. I think it was the dried chilies that made it. It had a smoky, good flavor with the dried chilies. All right. Anywho. on the menu. I'm not sure what's going to be going on here. I just finished the pie. It's going to be in there for probably another 20-25 minutes. Because I want to make sure the crust is baked. Because the apples on top, they're cooked. They're not going to get any more cooked. If anything, they're just going to dry out a little bit. I want to show you people a bagel that I picked up today. A little bit of show and tell. Some of these you may have seen before. One of them, I have no idea what to make do with it. But y'all have seen this before. The infamous rainbow bagel. Alright. Colorful. It's basically just a whole bunch of food dye that's been put on there. Y'all seen this before? I also made Scissor salsa, which was awesome. Dried ancho chilies, and you soak them in 1 part olive oil, 1 part apple cider, 1 part vinegar, onion, and garlic, like a chili chutney. Yes, this is an actual edible bagel that has confectioner's glitter all over it. It's called a unicorn bagel. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Naturally, I had to get it, and it's all hot pink and purple. But I usually buy my bagels a dozen at a time and freeze them, like slice them and freeze them so they stay good for about 2 weeks. You see an Instapot. Yes! I do have an Instapot. In fact, I used it today for lunch. For lunch today, we made pearl barley with lemon juice and parsley. I had some shallot and garlic in there as well. There was also a chicken apple sausage that went to accompany it for the protein. But that's about it. How are you doing, Whippet Knitter? Berry, welcome. Both of you, all of you, hi! My chat's all sorts of colorful with pink and purple and orange and teal over on the screen. So yes, welcome to the channel. You can do exclamation point menu for a glimpse about what we had prepared in today's stream. Currently, just to get everybody up to speed that might have been joining late or tuning in a little bit late, on the refrigerator side of things, we made peppermint patties from scratch, using peppermint oil, doing confection sugar, which I still have a ton left. My goodness, I'm trying to get rid of it. And some dark chocolate ganache that we put together. I'm making an apple pie right now featuring Fuji apples and these wonderful things. These are the apple chips that I'm going to try to toast up one last time. They're going to be the topping for a pie, so it's going to look like an apple pie with curly leaves on top of it, making it look all nice and autumnal. I see in the spot. What's the same as wheat berries? Is that the same as wheat berries? Wheat berries. What are we talking about? Wheat berries. Wheat berries. Pearl barley? Is that what you mean? Wheat berries? What? So that's what we got going on. So the peppermint patties that are in the fridge are just setting up for now. The barley stuff. In fact, hang on. It may not be the most appetizing look, but there you go. Okay, so it's been, whoops, as I spill it all over my keyboard. Whatever. Huh. It is just barley. It's something that you got as the dehydrated barley, whatever it is, the kind of like the dehydrated beans section of your store where you get the Goya beans in 1 pound bags, all the different kinds. Pearl barley was one of them. Also, I've been trying to cool this down enough so I could store it after lunch, and it's perfectly cool now. So what was a very vibrant parsley green has kind of died down in color a bit. But this is just something you prepare in an Instapot. It's about 1 pound of pearl barley, 5 cups of water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil just to prevent the frothing of the top. And this is about 25 minutes under high pressure to make this. I added in a little bit of lemon juice and lemon zest of 1 lemon at the very end just to kind of brighten it up. The texture is of risotto, just a little crunchy and a little nutty compared to regular risotto, which is just completely creamy. But it was good. That was lunch. That window is giving me adrenaline. That's a big batch. Yeah, but whenever I make lunch, if I have a day off, if I make lunch, I make it for the next 5 days of week for work. So yeah, that was about 5 cups plus of barley. But the reason why I made so much is that whatever I have left over is going to be my lunch for the next few days. So I make so much on purpose. The same thing with when I did the, on my last stream, I did large lima beans with a tomato sauce and fresh veg. That was lunch for me for about 5 or 6 days, in addition to lunch that day. It makes a lot, but, you know, guys got to eat. Adrenaline, like... Oh, adrenaline. Arendelle, the castle and town in Frozen. Oh, yeah. I mean, if anything, here, take a look at the wallpaper. Shiny, glossy, almost medieval-like tapestry kind of coloring and so on. I can't eat the same thing that many times. Well, that's also the drawback, because if you don't like what you make, you're stuck with it, because then you think you're being restful or wasteful. But if you like what you make, then it's going to be good for 6 or 7 days, and that's it. Yeah, so you get an idea about the kitchen that I got. There's woodwork everywhere in the kitchen itself, so ventilation is really key. Yeah, there we go. I want to touch it. It's actually just regular wallpaper. It's glossy. There's no fabric. It's just regular wallpaper. Even things you like. Yeah. Actually, where did I put my phone? There it is. All right. I'm not going to bring all y'all into the bathroom because that would be completely weird and nobody needs to see that. But pardon me one moment. I'm going to take a picture of the wallpaper in the downstairs bathroom by the kitchen so you can get an idea about the interesting wallpaper choices that pre-existed my parents buying this house. Okay, so they did not put these up. That wallpaper is charming. Bathroom wallpaper I'm going to show you has been here for longer than my parents have. So pardon me while I take a picture. You're gonna blow your top when you see this. All right. This is what the wallpaper in my parents' bathroom looks like, or should I say the downstairs, okay? Houndstooth. Not small either. Each one of those is probably about 1.5 inches in size. Seriously. Houndstooth wallpaper. I get dizzy just going in there. I never even saw such a thing, but apparently it does exist. They do exist. Yeah. So it's all very interesting. The rest of the house is fairly traditional. White paint, woodwork, maroon paint here and there, purple paint here and there. But this is by far the most interesting room in the house. That's a lot of dog teeth, yeah. I have vertigo just staring at it. Well, you and me both, and I've lived here for a little bit. All right. So the apple peels themselves are getting a little sticky. So I'm going to put them into the oven to dry them out a little bit. Let me see where we're at with the pie.
and it's getting there.
I'm going to be taking out the chips in about 3 or 4 minutes. I just wanted to toast them up again. Yeah, so this is the part of the stream where I realized I don't have anything to do. I already got everything chilling, setting. I have the pie that's going to be coming out in a little bit of time. Dinner has already been taken care of. Actually, has dinner been taken care of? Well, I got a lot of leftovers, but I'll have to put it away. But anyway, I might just have more of what I made for lunch for dinner, or I might go out for pizza. So recently, yours truly had a birthday. So I don't really celebrate my birthday that much. It's not something that I really like to do. I'm weird that way. However, I am a little greedy, and I sign up for usually local restaurants, value chains, and things like that, where every year for your birthday they give you a free ticket for this, that, and the other thing. So I got a free pie for dinner, and I might do that tonight. I might go out. It's National Pasta Day. There are always dishes, yeah. I know, but the only dishes I have right now are the pot that I made the apples in, the bowl that I have the chocolate in, and I'm seeing it now, the bowl that I mixed the peppermint patty dough in. That's it. Those are all the dishes that I have left. Everything else is in the dishwasher. Along with peppermint extract. Yeah, it's National Pasta Day, but I don't really eat that much pasta. I'm kind of over it. I mean, there's mac and cheese. That is pasta, but with a cheesy sauce on top of it. But yeah, I'm a bad part Italian boy, and I have a little bit of Italian blood in me, and I don't like pasta. You only eat pasta. Okay, all right. When I was growing up, I had it about twice a week because it was something that was very quick that you can make. Just get the pot of boiling water on. Okay, put the pasta in, stir it for a minute. 10 minutes later, you dump it, and your sauce has already been heating at the same time. It was something that was quick. My dad worked, at the time, 2 education jobs. He taught at a high school in the morning, and he taught at the university in the same campus at night twice a week. So kind of 2 jobs, but you got to drop the kids off at home first. So nowadays, I do appreciate that wasn't an easy task on his part. So those 2 days a week where he came home, dropped us off, got himself ready for that evening and went back out, and we had that pasta, you get tired of it because it's the exact same pasta dish every time. But it was, it's what you did. It's what you eat. It's what you had. Pasta is life. You're thinking of manicotti? Manicotti. Manicotti with a ricotta, bacon, and tomato filling. Oh yeah. Maybe a little bit of spinach in there too. Pasta is life. La pasta è vita. All right. All right, so here we go. That's 1, that's 2. Let me see if I can get one that has a little treat on it. Alrighty, here we go. Pasta is just a vehicle for meat and sauce. Uh-oh, incorrect. Uh-oh. All right, Mr. Fartbrains, I have to understand where you're coming from that. I mean, I don't mind that pasta is a vehicle for meat and sauce. I just don't really care for it too much. I mean, I like rigatoni. Rigatoni is my favorite type of pasta, that thick tube. That I'm fine with. When I was a kid, I used to put the rigatoni as rings on my finger and eat it off. That was really cute, but regular spaghetti, angel hair pasta, meh. Ziti, baked ziti, I would do that. Anyway, everybody, take a look. These are 3 of the peppermint patties that I just made before. 1 with the topping and then 2 I have here. So I'm going to have one of these first. I'm going to let the other one sit out for a few minutes because I want to see if the chocolate did not set, and then having these at room temperature, if that's going to cause any problems. But I got these 3 set. They've been in the refrigerator for about 10 or 15 minutes. So let's see how they turned out. As you see my chin. Again, ready? So let's see. How does it break? Ooh, nice. Look at that. Marshmallow interior. There was a snap with the chocolate, so when I broke it open, there was a little that I heard as I snapped it open. It hasn't started to melt in my hands yet, which is great. Oh, it's creamy on the inside. And look at that. Look at that stretch. Oh yeah, it's like a marshmallow. Now, I may make these again at some point, but I might flirt with other flavors of extract. The ceiling, oh my. Yeah, like I said, the ceiling's all woodwork. Okay, so can I mute the music for a second? Yeah. I'm not going to do it over the laptop because I'm going to have chocolate stains in there, but listen. Okay, fine. It just made a liar out of me. It didn't actually make any noise. But look at that. You take a look at that crackle that just formed when I pinched it. Oh yeah. This recipe is a definite keeper. But with this recipe, I actually had to increase the number or the amount of confectioner sugar that I had used in order to make something that was slightly dough-like. Because if you pick it up and it sticks to your hands, it's not going to want to roll or squish. But, oh yeah. Look at that. It's all stretchy and marshmallowy. Okay. And with the candy corn on top, it actually kind of worked. The peppermint and the candy corn brings with it like a super sweet honey flavor. So it actually worked well on top of that. I was just curious to see if it would look good, but it actually works well as well. The chocolate was good and rich, which I like. So this last one here, I'm going to leave that at room temperature. Whoops. For a few minutes before I eat it, because I want to see if the chocolate had set and if I got lucky, or if it's just going to melt again and I have to store these in the fridge until God knows when. If I can say that. I'm not sure if that's a phrase that can be said on Twitch. God knows when. Anyway, I said it again. So Whippet Knitter, Tomatophile, Mr. Fartbrains, got a whole bunch of people here. And the main event is going to be ending in just a few minutes, and I had the apple chips in there for too long. Okay. All right. So I wanted to get the apple chips in there just for a few extra moments because I wanted to loosen up the caramel bits and I wanted to get them separated so that they could dry out better. And yes, I am working with hot sugar that just came out of the oven. Are my fingers burning? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But it'll be okay. All right. What just came in? There we go. Now. So I'm in a little bit of a pickle, by the way. Oh, by the way, Tomatophile. If you're still there, oops. Tomatophile, I don't know if you're still there, but if you are, I'm going to blow your mind right now. So you may want to take a look at the computer screen if you're lurking. You think that the Girl Scouts only make cookies. And by make, you know what I mean. Yeah, you had your mint chip, you have your Tagalogs, you have all of this. I did not know until last week that they also sell savory snacks. I got it primarily through the site, but you know, you see the Girl Scouts set up on tables outside, you know, various shopping centers and malls. They have their own things there, their cookies that I just mentioned. They never have what I'm about to show you. Dang. Dill pickle peanuts. Now, they taste really good. The dill taste is really strong. There's a slight vinegariness to them, but the fact that it goes is surprising. So I picked up 2 containers of this through an online, through the Girl Scouts online site. Yeah, dill pickle peanuts. This is Girl Scouts, okay? This is not some knockoff. I didn't get it at the dollar store, but dill pickle peanuts. This is not a drill. All right. So, yeah, let me show you. In there. When you crack it open, when you open the tin, you do get hit with that very familiar roast peanut smell. And this is not a dill. Nice one, Mr. Fartbrains. That was actually pretty good. That was well timed. Kudos. The peanut smell, the roast peanut smell is actually pretty strong. It's not until you bring it close to your nose or you start to taste it that you get any kind of that dill pickly seasoning. Whip It Knitter, I will not get out. This is my stream. But there we go. Or unless you're saying get out to Mr. Fartbrains for making a brilliant and well played opportunity. No, but they're really good. See, look at this. I'm snacking this entire stream. It's weird because it goes well with each other, and you can't explain it. It's like you can't exactly explain how bananas and peanut butter go well with each other, but they do. You can't really explain how mint and chocolate go well together because one of them is a bean and one of them is an herb, but they do. You can't explain how pickles and peanuts go together, but they kind of do. I won't need dinner. Yeah, well, no. As I mentioned, I'm in a bit of a pickle anyway because in addition to these, I close tomorrow on the new place, and in my entire stream with you, I've been on for about 3 hours now. I've not gotten any message from the lawyer about what I have to bring for tomorrow. So I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat wondering how much in terms of a check that I need to bring because I don't know. All I know is it has to be bank certified. But I don't have any information. So I'm going to have to give the lawyer a call tomorrow morning because I really don't know what the amount is. Because it has to be a bank certified check. It's not like I can just go in with a personal check and write down. No email. I got an email from the mortgage guy. And the mortgage guy says, oh, we got all the documents together. We have everything that we need. The lawyer guy is saying, okay, we're just waiting for these last documents. This was a few days ago. This morning, the lawyer guy gets back to me saying, we're waiting on the seller's attorney to get back to us. So now my people are already set, ready to go. Tomorrow, the seller is going to be there, but I don't know what kind of cash to get there. Now, this is not a financing question. Financing is all taken care of. I have all the money, all the checks that can possibly be written. They're done. I'm fine. I'm not broke or anything along that line. The problem that I'm having is that the check that I have to bring has to be bank certified. So I have to go to the bank first to get checks of a very particular amount, which I don't have yet. I don't know what I'm going to be asking for, and I can't just show up with a personal check. Now, on top of that, I have to get insurance, but I don't know insurance for the apartment. But what I don't know is, do I need to walk in with it, or am I signing for it there? So I'm not sure if it's something that has to be certified. I can go get insurance online. That's no problem. Apartment insurance done. 10 minutes and I'm finished. But if it's something that has to be notarized that I had received it, then I have to sign something tomorrow and I can't get it online tonight. It's a weird New York co-op thing. I'm not sure how well it's going to work. It's a rigmarole, but here's the thing. I'm pretty much prepared for everything, but they can't tell me at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning, you're going to need these 2 checks. I'm like, okay, but I have to be at another town at 2 o'clock. I need more advance notice than that. I would never do anything if I had to talk to a person on the phone. Yeah, it's a rigmarole. But anyway, what can you do? What can you do? Shrug. That's what you can do. Shrug. All right. So now I need a trivet. Trivet. That's off. I have a second pot holder. Okay. And now, let's put all that away. We have the near grand finale. Are you buying the apartment, or I'm mentioning I'm buying? I once heard the advice that usually people in life that have grown up with their parents renting tend to prefer renting, and those who have grown up with their parents buying tend to prefer buying. I like the concept of buying my place. It gives me a bit of control, and it has the opportunity for me to increase capital. Versus if I'm renting, and assuming I have rent control, I'm paying over time what could amount to be more than the value of the apartment with no capital if I decide to move out. So I prefer to own, because if I do things like paint, change the kitchen out, update the bathroom, things that I'm planning on doing, albeit several years down the line, or change the carpet, anything like that, it increases the value of the property in case I want to sell it in the future. So I prefer to own. And that's the whole reason why there are lawyers involved and mortgages and blah, 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 blah. But that's it. I prefer to own. Cars, however, I'm renting right now. And I'm fine with the idea of leasing, because whether or not I lease or own, I don't foresee that I'm going to have a car for 15 or 20 years to make owning it worthwhile. In my family, we've not owned cars for more than 10 years or so before they were replaced, with like 1 or 2 exceptions. But I may as well lease. I don't care either way, unless I can get the car for dirt cheap. I bought a house and condos that are common here, but apartments not so much. Yeah, we have the co-op situation where you're not buying the flat per se, but you're buying shares in the corporation. You're essentially buying the right to live there. So I don't own the apartment, if that makes any sense. I just own that address for as long as I'm paying maintenance, if that makes any kind of sense. I can do whatever I want inside the walls, but that's it. It's a weird New York thing that I think is unique. It's not like a condominium, and part of the reason why co-ops are popular in New York is that because you're buying shares within the corporation, a certain number of shares per apartment, it's generally cheaper than a condo, albeit a lot harder to get into because you have to make sure your finances are that in check. Anyway, where are we? We got an apple pie here that I just took out of the oven, which I'm going to tilt the camera down so you can see. There we go. So here's our apple pie. I mentioned toward the beginning of the stream that one thing that I really like to do is that I make my apple pies closer to a French tart. Now, I didn't have a potato masher, so it's a little chunkier than I'd like, and more than one person has commented about how I like things chunky. There's no butter in this. It's just the apples, 1/3 cup sugar, 1/3 cup water, plus whatever residual water is already in the apples. The zest and juice of 1 lemon. These get simmered in a pot to break them down and cook them before it goes into a pan. So this is more like a French apple tart, sort of, because it's chunky. but I don't like putting spices in it because I want the apples to be the star of the show, and sometimes I feel that when we add spices to things, we're masking flavors. But that's just me. So that's that. I also said at the very beginning of the stream that I was going to be doing something rather unique to the apples that I have not seen done before, which you're going to see in probably about 35-40 seconds. So I'll be back. All of this was part of a practice for Pie Week, which is going to be the week of November 6th here on Twitch. Let me just turn off the oven. Now it's just cooling itself off. So, yeah, we're going to take a look at it. Right now, the pie is still cooling, so it's just sunk down a little bit. But I'm going to get what I'm going to put on this to make it a little bit more unique. Now, I've not seen anybody do this. I've not seen this done in any kind of bakery. This is not to say that nobody has done it before. I've just not seen it. And this is close to the final product that's going to be for Pie Week. It's just a test run because I don't know how well it's going to work out. But what's going to go on top? Hang tight. Let me just put this down here so you can see everything that's going on. There you go. Looks like bacon, ain't bacon. So what I did is that I took the apple peels, I turned them into chips, which stay nice and crispy. Not sure if that's gonna, they crunch. But because I didn't put any spices in the pie itself, I made the apple peels with a cinnamon sugar. So they're crunchy, they're crispy. Even if they're not entirely crispy and become chewy, there's still seasoning in there to entice people to eat. And because the peels themselves are small, you don't risk that kind of spaghetti-like I'm chewing on a bay leaf kind of choking thing going on. But there you go. That's a pie. That's what I am attempting. I'm not sure if it looks 100% appetizing, but I'm going to style it a bit. I'm going to put it on my Discord so y'all can see it a lot more clearly. But there you have it. Let me see if I can just clean up around it so I can get a photograph on Discord. Let me go to square shot. Get that plate's shadow out of the way. It's really hard to get a shot where you're not in the shadow. There we go. Perfect. All right. I wasn't going to eat today. What do you mean you weren't going to eat today? You have to eat. Food talk. Let's attach from the camera roll. All photos. Boom. Let's attach one more camera roll. Bonk. Tarts, apple pie, French tart filling with cinnamon, sugar, peel, chips, topping. There we go. Being published right now. Oh, sometimes eating doesn't happen until Boba gets home and makes me LOL. All right. So now I'm going to spam this. Let's go to the food channel. And I'm going to say, camera roll, recently added. This is what happens when you want to use all of the apple. You make a pie and use the peels as chips for the topping. There we go. Yeah, I think it came out really well. The only concern I have is that the top is not going to be very crispy for very long. The residual heat, pardon me, I'm talking my mouth full. The residual heat is probably going to make them soggy again, but I think overall for taste, it's still going to work out. But there you go. There's the pie. I'm not going to taste it for now because it's still got to cool down just a little bit. But I do promise you, no added fat in this recipe. Fat is not the devil, okay? Fat is okay for you. It's not good to fear fat. It's just that this does not contain any. It also does not contain any binders beyond what's already inside the apple. The pectin is already in there. The whole thing has about, in addition to the apples, it has an additional 1/3 of a cup plus 3 tablespoons of sugar. So in the chips and also there, although a lot of the sugar ended up as syrup on the pan. So there you go. Fat is my friend. Mine too. Mine too. So, and here is the other mint patty. I had this sitting out at room temperature for a little bit because I didn't want to, I wanted to see if it's something that would melt in my fingers, but so far it's room temperature and it's still staying fine. It breaks just fine. It's still pulling, and oh my goodness. It's still delicious. The chocolate is still crunchy, even though it's room temperature. And there you have it. So Tig Girl, we were talking about the chips before. What I ended up doing, because when I took them out of the oven, I might put this in the Discord, but in case somebody wants to clip it, here's the recipe that I had used for the apple peel chips, and apologies for my chicken scratch. 8 large apples peeled. Of course, you use the peels, of course. 3 tablespoons of sugar mixed with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I added in a little ginger on top of that. 300-degree oven. You sprinkle the peels generously with the sugar cinnamon mixture. Use your hands to zhuzh it and toss it. Throw it in the oven for 15 minutes, toss it. 15 minutes more, toss it. When I took it out of the oven, after about 10 minutes, a lot of them were crispy, as I showed on stream before. But then after another half hour or so, they started to lose their crispiness. So what I ultimately did is that in the last few minutes that the pie was cooking at 375, I threw the chips in for about 8 minutes or so to just fully cook the sugar. Living with me has had an effect on you. So that's ultimately what I did. I think putting it in for one last minute, re-toasted them, re-dried them out, whatever you want to say. But Tig Girl, that's ultimately what I had to do. So if you're doing the apple chips tonight, like you mentioned, that's the one last thing. After cooling for about an hour, they got crispy, soggy again. I threw them in at 375 for 8 minutes, and they re-crisped when I took them out of the oven. So now it's on top. I got this lovely pie, which almost looks like it's got autumn leaves on top of it, but it's completely 100% edible. Alrighty. So now I gotta think about what I'm gonna do for dinner. But you know what? You know what? You know what? You know what? We were streaming for over 3 hours today, and we went through 2 recipes. We chat about all sorts of things. I got applesauce on my computer trackpad. Isn't that sweet? We talked about my addiction to pumpkins, the cute ones, not the angry ones. Pizza, live your life. I gotta run. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you very much, Whip It Knitter. Thank you very much. I'm going to see if I can go out and get some pizza tonight. I'm gonna see if I can drag Shamaja Mom with me if she wants to go for pizza. She's been kind of feeling ill-ish with a cold. But that's the other thing. Y'all got to see Shamaja Mom for the first time. She came down with her Halloween costume, or half of her Halloween costume on. It's completely adorable. And yeah, that's what we got going on. So what I am going to do is I'm going to be ending, unfortunately. I do want to get dinner together. I want to make sure I get all my documents together for tomorrow anyway, so that way I can just go in the morning and hang out somewhere in the 10-mile vicinity of the closing so that when everything's ready to go, I can just... That was really loud, I'm sorry. I can just get going out the door. Who knows? I might even bring some of those... peppermint patties with me to sweeten the closing. Who knows? Anyway, so everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for making this a very interesting, lively stream. I really do love and appreciate you all. Hey, somebody redeemed a joke. Shmaja Mom says good night, and I will see you all hopefully sometime soon. Of course, subscribe to my Discord if you want to get any alerts for when I go live. And we will see you on another time. Hopefully with a working second webcam. Anyway, bye-bye, y'all. Thank you very much. And it goes to a black screen. Isn't that great? This is live television, folks. You want to make sure that you got all of your overlays completely loaded before you go live. Anyway. Goodbye, everybody.
That noise you heard, I dropped the